not in Kansas anymore.
You have my curiosity.
Are you telling me you built a time machine?
The Force will be with you. Assemble.
Welcome to the Get Real podcast, the podcast where we get real about all our favourite pop culture films and TV shows. I'm your Jedi Master, Chris, and with me is my Padawan apprentice, Sam.
And does this Padawan have a story for you?
Ooh, tell me the tales of Darth Plagueis the Wise.
Well, that's ironic, because that's something that we maybe wish we got in The Rise of Skywalker, which was Star Wars Episode 9.
Yes.
Which was never going to be called The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh my gosh, the first... Okay, so this episode, Sam, in front of him, has got the Colin Trevorrow's draft synopsis for his version of Episode 9.
It's actually Colin Trevorrow.
Trevorrow. Yes, sorry, I forgot we renamed him.
How dare you get his name so wrong?
Colin Trevorrow. Yeah, sorry. So it's his draft.
We know
of
it. We know
Episode
it's
9.
Trevorrow or Trevorrow or whatever. But yeah, for the purposes of this episode, he is Colin Trevorrow. Today with me, thanks to a story that got run by Collider and YouTuber Robert Meyer Burnett.
Okay.
We have.
I recognise that name. Do we have the name of his channel, or is that just what he goes by?
So do I. Let me just click on this link and get a bit more of an idea.
It's not Star Wars Explained, that is it? No.
Oops. No, his channel.
We're not sponsored.
No. Well, look, there's his name, Robert Meyer Burnett. That'll do. Basically, Colin Trevorrow, who was the original director. Trevorrow was the original director for what would have been his Star Wars Episode 9.
Yes.
Now, obviously, people are a little bit mixed on J.J. Abrams' results in The Rise of Skywalker.
Yes.
We have done our episode on The Rise of Skywalker. It was the first episode we did.
So check it out if you haven't listened to it already.
Check that out. Actually, to date, it is our best performing episode.
It is.
So, yeah.
Who would have thought Star Wars is more popular than everything?
But anyway, so we have a full synopsis of what his film would have been.
Tell me about it, Sam.
Yeah, we even have the openings crawl.
Okay.
In the script.
So the way we're going to do this is, I don't know any of this yet, so Sam's going to hit me with the hard facts. Yeah. And I'm going to react, and you're going to get my...
I picked Chris up. He got in my car, and I said, boy, have I got a story for you.
It's not the type of tale that the Jedis would teach you.
I said, do not read any of this before we get to recording. So, yeah, this is a bit of a different episode this week. So, I thought we'd do this as a little bit extra to split up all the film reviews we have been doing. So, we are well open to feedback on whether stuff like this is something that you'd like to hear in the future. Or if it's terrible, just get in touch, tell us it's rubbish, and tell us.
Yeah, rate us 5 stars just so that we see your review telling us how terrible it was.
No matter how much you hate it, you're not allowed to rate us anything less than 5 stars. Yes. So, spoilers for a film that never actually got released.
Yes, okay, but maybe spoilers for Rise of Skywalker.
But yeah, definitely, this is going to be riddled with spoilers for Rise of Skywalker. Yes. But what are you doing? It's 2020. How have you not seen this film yet?
It's so last year.
I know, God, it was a whole year ago. Anyway, so, yeah. This comes from Collider, so you can head over to their website to read everything else. So full credit goes to them. That is where I'm reading this from. So yeah, basically, Colin Trevorrow's script was very, very different from J.J. Abrams' version of the film. Why was it? The draft that we're going to read was actually dated from December 2016. But obviously there would have been changes made by Lucasfilm and stuff, and obviously he left because of creative differences and stuff like that. We've seen time and time again major changes can happen to a script once cameras are rolling. So there's no guarantee that if Trevorrow had remained on Star Wars Episode 9 that this is exactly what the movie would have been. It does give us an idea of what we could have had, and I'm going to get your opinion on what would have been the better
film. Hit me with the truth, Sam!
So are you ready for the opening script?
Are you going to hit me with a title first? Copyright strike.
So the iron grip of the First Order has spread to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Only a few scattered planets remain unoccupied. Traitorous acts are punishable by death.
Cool.
Determined to suffocate a growing unrest, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, in caps, has silenced all communication between neighbouring systems. Led by, in caps, General Leia Organa, The Resistance has planned a secret mission to prevent their annihilation and forge a path to freedom.
Okay.
That's your opening crawl for what could have been episode 9.
Do we have a title for it?
We do. I thought you'd never ask.
I asked before you gave me the crawl. You're leaving me in suspense.
Star Wars,
Yes.
Duel of the Fates.
Okay.
I don't like it. I'm not going to lie.
No, I'm not too keen on it.
However, doesn't it make you think about that trailer that we got that had the Duel of Fates theme in it?
Yes.
Does make you wonder. So Duel of the Fates,
I feel like that wasn't the final name for it. Like I feel like that was like a temp name.
like a working title.
Yeah, working title.
It's definitely different though, isn't it? Duel of the Fates. Oh, it's like Attack of the Clones. Duel of the Fates. It would have been very relevant though.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on the opening crawl so far?
Pretty cool. I like the fact that the Resistance are going on a secret mission, covert mission, instead of they were just walking into their dooms essentially. Yeah.
Have you noticed there's a big lack of Palpatine in that opening crawl so far?
Definitely a lack of Palpatine. No Palpatine at all. No reference to anybody other than... Was that the full crawl?
That's the full crawl.
Because that seems a lot shorter than most crawls.
Well, it's a
most
lot
crawls
short.
are like 3 paragraphs, aren't they?
Well, I mean, the thing is this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines on this screen that I've got here.
Okay.
So you got to imagine it's probably split into the 3 paragraphs there.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't seem to give us as much information as most crawls do, but well, we know where it's heading from.
The information this gave us was that the First Order has spread to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, so they've totally dominated the galaxy, haven't they? But that's off the back of Kylo Ren in the end of The Last Jedi becoming full big bad.
Supreme Leader, yeah.
Traitorous acts are punishable by death. Determined to suffocate a growing unrest, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren has silenced all communication between neighbouring systems. So what I think this shows you is Kylo Ren has developed further than that anger that he had in The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Get a bit of that in The Rise of Skywalker.
Full dark side.
But he's gone full dark side on this, and he is the big bad.
Yeah.
Which is what, if you remember, that's what I said that I wanted. I wanted Kylo to be irredeemable.
Yeah.
I wanted him to just
That's
be
what I
evil.
wanted. I didn't want a redemption for him, really.
Yeah.
I like how they did his redemption, but I didn't really want it at that point.
Yeah, exactly. And then the idea is that the Resistance has planned a secret mission to prevent their annihilation and forge a path to freedom, aka light the spark that will bring the First Order down.
Yes.
Yes. So what this talks about now. So the beginning of the film very much picks up from The Last Jedi, in that the First Order has cut off all communication between the planets in order to suppress a rebellion inspired by Luke Skywalker's standoff at the Battle of Crate.
Yes.
So the spark of the rebellion did work in this version of the movie. In fact, the opening sequence of The Duel of Fates, Finn, Rose, and BB-8 are stealing a Star Destroyer that's chock full of Imperial weapons.
Cool.
So that's your
Instantly more Rose.
Yeah.
Because Rose got shafted in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, well, apparently she was front and center for this whole movie originally.
Apparently she had a lot more scenes in Rise of Skywalker, but they got cut.
Yeah, and that's, she was completely sidelined in that, wasn't she? During the heist, Finn sees a stormtrooper with his helmet off that he recognizes, with his story arc in the Duel of Fates nicely concluding one that began in The Force Awakens.
So was it TR-ATAR?
No, he gets blasted by that bowcaster in The Force Awakens, doesn't he? So what you get here is you get more humanized stormtroopers, right? Someone's not got his helmet on. Finn recognizes him, has a conversation, or I don't know, says, "Yo, man, what are you doing? You should rebel with me and join the Resistance," and stuff like that.
Or maybe it's like, "Please don't shoot! Please don't shoot! Please don't shoot!"
Yeah, remember
don't I know you?
Yeah. I like how you were going to get more Rose, because obviously it felt like she got set up in The Last Jedi a lot more.
I thought she was great in The Last Jedi. Obviously, the Canto Bight storyline wasn't great, but she was good. So I was gutted that we got none of her.
So this versus the what did we get in The Rise of Skywalker? Kylo fighting those people, finding that Sith Wayfinder, and meeting Palpatine right now. Which tickles your fancy more?
I liked seeing a lot more Kylo Ren doing his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Palpatine was cool, but this also sounds cool.
So at the end of this paragraph, we're going to do a point system. So who do you give the point to so far?
I want to give it to this version of events, even though I liked Kylo Ren killing people.
Come on, just give me an answer.
Okay, this version.
Okay, right. So 1 point to the Duel of Fate so far.
I really like Rise of Skywalker, and I feel like
Look,
this is going to come out that I
justifying
don't
your decision
like it.
and let it happen.
Okay, Supreme Leader Sam.
So in Travago's version,
Travago.
Rose and Finn are on a mission to Coruscant to ignite an ancient beacon in the old Jedi temple, which will call the galaxy to war. Coruscant?
Yeah, we didn't see any Coruscant, did we?
No. What do you think? An ancient beacon in the old Jedi temple. Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice callback.
Callback to the
That's not
prequels.
just Palpatine.
Yeah.
They get imprisoned.
Quick
Oh,
question.
Yeah.
You know, in The Force Awakens, when we see all the diplomats getting blown up, was that not Coruscant? Was that a different planet? I'm going to guess that was a different planet then.
Well, I don't know actually. Was that?
It was a different planet. I remember
Hosnian.
in the General Leia novel, it was a different planet.
Okay, so it was a different planet. So they didn't just totally.
Yeah, they were just having a diplomatic meeting on there because I'm used to the Senate.
I would be questioning the validity of this script if that was the case. But yeah. So yeah, they're going to the ancient beacon in the old Jedi temple, which will call the galaxy to war.
So that's essentially the same way as the Sith Pathfinders, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it's a bit like that.
Yeah.
They get imprisoned. Rose gets interrogated by General Hux, played by Domhnall Gleeson. And Finn leads an uprising of defecting stormtroopers in a ground battle on the streets of Coruscant. Yes, please.
Yeah, that would have been...
Yes, please.
So he essentially did that. So the characters that we meet on the planet with the Death Star on, and was it another moon of Endor?
Yeah, something like that.
They are all defective stormtroopers as well. So that got kept, but we had no development from them at all. And none of them seemed any sort of recognizable as a stormtrooper or anything. Like, you didn't get any sort of weight from them being defective stormtroopers. They glossed over it so quickly. So I feel like that would have been a lot more impactful if they had a chance to stop the resistance, but they broke away there. You actually saw them defecting.
What would you have liked to have seen more Sith trooper action in The Rise of Skywalker or defecting stormtroopers?
Both. I would have liked to see those two go in at each other.
Okay,
you got to see cuts of it, didn't you?
So here's your next score.
Okay.
Who would you give it to? Would you give it to more action with the Sith troopers at the end, or would you give it to rebelling?
Rebelling.
Oh, there's 2 points to the film that never happened.
Please don't make me hate Rise of Skywalker.
0 points to The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, so I really would have wanted to see this. We spoke about this before we went and watched the film, and I really wanted rebelling stormtroopers.
Yeah.
It was a theory that Star Wars Explained on YouTube talked about, and that was something that he really wanted to see.
Yeah.
So I imagine if he has read this, that he's going to be...
I feel like that would have cemented Finn's arc, because I feel like Finn was also very much wasted.
Yeah, and it would have made more sense.
I think it was only Rey and Kylo that weren't wasted in Rise of Skywalker. Rise of Skywalker, now that I think about it.
And stormtroopers...
Don't make me hate it.
Stormtroopers fighting in Coruscant. Yeah. I would have really liked to seen what we saw in Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, that kind of...
The underground.
The lower level Coruscant fighting.
Want to buy some death sticks?
That would have been a total cameo. Yeah. If this film had happened, that would have been the cameo.
Hey, I used to sell death sticks until, for some reason, someone made me stop.
So yeah, at the very end of the movie, bear in mind this is just talking about Finn and Rose's arc,
yeah,
and then we'll talk about the other arcs of the characters throughout the film. At the very end of this movie, Finn and Rose lead a group of Force-sensitive youth to a remote planet where Rey is waiting to train the next generation of Jedi, and yes, Broom Boy from The Last Jedi is one of them.
Yes, Broom Boy is there. Hashtag bring back Broom Boy.
So the alternative that we get is Rey at the end of The Rise of Skywalker is just her, isn't she? She's just found who she is. At the end of this, she kind of takes the Jedi Master role that Luke would have had in training young Jedi. Yeah. You know, that he gets.
She completes his story arc as well.
Before Kylo goes Super Saiyan and burns his temple down.
There's hints of Finn being Force sensitive as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is why he would have been probably given the lightsaber in Force Awakens as well.
Yeah, and that might have been,
And that's
how
what
he
probably tied him and Rey together.
detected the Force-sensitive youth. It doesn't talk about where this group of Force-sensitive youth came from, but they just talk about this is where it finishes off.
Yeah.
So maybe the reveal is that it passes some time afterwards, and Finn and Rose are
They've gone
gathering
planet
them
to
all
planet,
and stuff,
yeah.
and then taking them to Rey. So, Chris,
That's so much better.
oh, I think I already know what your answer's going to be.
Yeah.
This is your next scoring question.
Yep, 3-0.
Without me even having to ask
3-0. Yeah,
so
like,
between Rey's ending
that's
at
so
the
much better than anything else that Finn and Rose did in Rise of Skywalker, so it's an easy 3 points.
So between where Rey left off in The Rise of Skywalker and where she would have left off in the Duel
Right,
of the Fates.
can I just say now, we're starting a Kickstarter to get the new version of Episode 9 made. You know, like everybody wanted to get Episode 8 remade.
Yeah.
Let's get Episode 9 remade and let's get this
We'll
script
use
going.
the whole budget of that just to get the script, and then we'll just film it ourselves.
Yes.
It'll be
I
the
will play
worst fan
all the
film.
roles.
Many wigs.
Yes.
Many wigs. And many different...
Speaking of that, you know the Yorks cast?
Yeah.
So every Christmas they do a Christmas charity live stream. It's every day for December. And this year, like, they got some of them to try and remake A New Hope. But there was only 4 of them remaking it, so they were all wearing different wigs and cutting it together. It's the best 13 minutes of my life, and they put Christmas songs in there, so they try and make it into the nativity as well.
Incredible. We've only covered off 2 of the characters so far.
Yeah.
So we've got Rin,
Rin,
Foes and Rin. That's the end of their plot. So as for Kylo Ren, so
hit me with it.
Kylo still dies at the end of this film, but his arc, as well as Rey's, is completely different. For one, there's no Emperor Palpatine at all. No mention. He's not in this film. At the beginning of the movie, Kylo Ren has vanished off to Mustafar,
Which is where we saw him.
However, it is more of what you would expect from Darth Vader's lava planet.
I was about to say, is he going to his castle?
Are you ready for this?
Darth Vader's castle.
And is wallowing around in Vader's old castle. So we have Darth Vader's castle.
So this is
in
exactly everything that people were predicting at the end of Episode 8.
Yeah. Your next question, Chris, is which version of Mustafar do you prefer? Option A,
I want to see
the trees
I
one with the
see...
Sith Wayfinder, or Vader's old castle?
I want to
Which one
see
would you pick?
Vader's castle.
Okay, so that's 4-0 to the film that never happened.
Should we end this now? We just end the point system. You just tell me why I would have liked this film
So
better.
what you're saying, Chris, is you prefer not even 2 full paragraphs of text to what we got in The Rise of Skywalker.
So far, yes.
You said you really like this film.
I really like Rise of Skywalker, but I really like this non-existent film as well.
I feel really betrayed. Okay, so yeah, he's in Vader's old castle. There he's haunted by a forced ghost of Luke Skywalker, which is where we get Mark Hamill's return. And
he said as well, if you strike me down in anger, I'll stay with you.
Yes. Now, this film already feels like it links a lot more to what we had in The Last Jedi.
Yeah. It doesn't have 20 minutes at the beginning of trying to retcon Episode 8.
Yeah, and this is why it feels like such a U-turn, because this feels like what we should have got. Look, everyone has gone from asking for J.J. Abrams' full 3-hour cut. Look, I don't want the 3-4 hour cut. I just want this. This would have, yeah. Look, Chris, I know he looks like he's about to cry. You feel
I liked
like
Rise of Skywalker, but now I'm not liking it as much.
everything you ever knew. It's all a lie, mate. Don't worry. I feel the same way.
God damn it.
Look, so
Star
yeah.
Wars will equally make and break my heart.
So he's haunted by a force ghost of Luke Skywalker, which shows Mark Hamill's return, and even fights a hallucinatory version of Darth Vader, a la Luke's fight in the cave in Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
Empire Strikes Back? No.
No.
Return of the Jedi.
No, Empire Strikes Back is in the second one.
Oh yeah, that's right. He goes to
Dagobah.
after Hoth.
Go to
doesn't he?
Dagobah. Train with Master Yoda. That's my Alec
Rockin'.
Guinness.
Rocking and rolling.
What was that? Sorry.
If anyone's ever followed bad lip syncing, you'll know exactly what it is. There's a new one of
Goddamn
them.
seagulls.
There's a new one of them with a stick.
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, that's what we're doing after this episode. So yeah, we get a version of Darth Vader in this film.
Distinct lack of Vader in episode 9. There wasn't even a Force ghost of him at the end.
It was Vader's helmet.
That's not enough. It was on screen for 2 seconds and then got blasted.
Oh, F-bomb.
Sorry.
No, we can make this
It
explicit.
was in there for 2 seconds and then it got shattered.
We can make this explicit of how angry you are about
Welcome
this.
to the other side of the jump cut.
So yeah, I think this would have been really cool. Getting a Force Ghost Luke against Kylo and then Kylo fighting Vader. Like, how much more would that have built on his character?
You can't see me right now, but I'm in pain. I'm in emotional pain.
So, after this, he comes into contact with the Sith teacher of Palpatine, Tor Valum, who is a ancient Sith Lord, I imagine, via an ancient Sith device, as he's trying to put an end to the Jedi and the Sith once and for all. So, he is the big bad version in this story, and Collider says he's gone full Heisenberg, so to speak.
What was the name of that?
Tor Valum. So that's Tor and space, and then it's Valum. So yeah, it's kind of cool. You still get that whole ancient Sith device thing, and he's trying to put an end to the Jedi and the Sith once and for all, which is kind of what he talks about in The Last Jedi, I suppose, where he's like Rey, he tries to get Rey to join him and stuff, and put an end to all the Sith, the Jedi, and all of it, and he just wants to be a supreme leader, which is what, in this version, it sounds like we get a much clearer supreme leader, Kylo Ren. The Kylo Ren we got in The Rise of Skywalker.
He was supreme leader, but he was still a puppet for...
It was supreme
Palpatine.
leader for the first half an hour, Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
But,
I do like his redemption arc, but I wanted to see him pose more of a villainous threat first.
So
I
Chris-
kind of wanted more of a Vader redemption.
we're back to that moment again. Question
Just
number
give the
5.
points. Give it the point.
No, honestly, question number 5 is: would you have rather have had the Ben Solo redemption, or would you have had full evil Kylo Ren?
See, I would have wanted full evil Kylo Ren right up until the end, and then redemption.
So if we didn't have a
A la
redemption,
Darth Vader
yeah.
chucking Palpatine.
Well, this.
But that would have needed another villain.
Yeah, according to this, we wouldn't have had that. So, what would you have given the point to? Would you say, now that we think about it, this version, or would you have said that? Imagine if we never got that Ben Solo redemption, the whole lightsaber teleporting from Rey to him, that moment. If you didn't have that moment where they have that bond and he smiles and stuff, and has that moment with Han and his dad, and what would you have preferred to have had? I know I've really sold you on the concept of this film.
Yeah, I want somewhere between the two of them.
You can't do this.
I know. Only Sith stealing absolutes. Give the point to Travago.
Our favorite.
I want to give
our
one
favorite
point to
hotel
Rise.
finding website.
Not a sponsor.
Okay, so yeah, that's Kylo's arc for the film.
Is that his full arc? How does he interact with the other characters in any way?
Well, there's a.
Are you going to tell me that in the bit about Rey?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we've got a little bit more to go, so we're about halfway through. So Rey, meanwhile, while all this is going on with Kylo and he's going through his whole
Is she being
midlife crisis,
Is she being
he's having.
trained by Leia actually properly?
It doesn't really talk about this. I know Leia was in the opening crawl, but I don't think it really talks about what would have happened with Leia. If this was 2016, when did Carrie Fisher pass? Would this film?
I think it was December 2016, wasn't it?
So we'll assume this script
Was it 2017?
Yeah, because this is the only thing, right? Is if this script was written with that obviously in mind, then she would have played a very similar role in this to what she would have done in The Rise of Skywalker, where she was just kind of like a guide. And
December 27th, 2016.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's probably written with that in mind, I suppose, wasn't it?
Well, this was probably before she passed away.
Yeah.
If it was written then.
Yeah, maybe
Would
a
have
lot
been-
of bits have been cut out because of that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, so while Kylo's going through his midlife crisis of being full Sith Lord and everything,
And a
and
Porsche.
being a supreme leader and all that. No one will get that reference. Daisy Ridley, Rey, meanwhile, still believes there's good in Kylo Ren and has teamed up with Poe to put an end to the Jedi and Sith in her own way. Another story point this film picks up from the ending of The Last Jedi. So it doesn't actually talk about this at all.
It doesn't actually say how she's going to put an end to him.
She still thinks there's good in Kylo, which I think's a nice little...
Yeah.
I think the tragedy of this film would be her still thinking there's good in him. A bit like how Padme still thinks there's good in Anakin.
Yeah.
You'd have a mirror in there maybe. And
how Luke's still trying to find the good in Vader as well.
yeah, probably. And then maybe Poe plays a bit like an Obi-Wan where it's like, no, he's gone. You know what I mean?
That would have built off episode 8 as well.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm just slamming Rise of Skywalker now.
We're allowed to because this actually would have sounded really
Yeah.
decent.
So at the end of episode 8, the whole point of Poe Dameron's arc is like he's tossing that toxic masculinity aside. He's not being the hot-headed flyboy that he was. He's taking other people into consideration. He's thinking about things through properly and everything. He had character growth in episode 8. Then episode 9, he kind of goes back to being a trigger-happy flyboy.
Yeah.
And like he just kind of wants to bang Kerry Russell. Like even at the end, like after she's already turned him down multiple times, he's just there like, I just won the war for us. How about now? Do you want to bang now? No, okay.
Yeah. That's a bit of like the comic relief of the film. Isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, it doesn't really talk much more about Rey in this. That's really it, and that's it in terms of
So
of Poe as
nothing
well.
about.
Well, I think we get a little. Oh, we get a little bit more actually.
Okay,
That's
carry
a
on.
lie.
Do you want to know my point about that? Although you didn't really give me much, but
there's not. I know there's not really much there.
okay, we'll skip a point there
score.
then.
But I think this would have been this would have been like the heartfelt parts of the film.
Yeah.
You can imagine the
Probably more force connections between the two of them. Like Rey's
yeah.
still saying to Ben that she can bring him back, and
Yeah, that whole like part in The Last Jedi where she realizes that he's putting his hand out because it's he doesn't want her to join her for him to go to the light. It's for them to both go to the dark in a way. Where with this,
because that scene was those two so diametrically opposed that it shattered the symbol of like the light side. The symbol of the Jedi was the lightsaber in that film. Like that is the symbology of Star Wars, is the lightsaber. When you think of Star Wars, you think of lightsaber fights, don't you?
Yeah.
That's why it's on every poster and everything, is a lightsaber. And it shattered that because they were so diametrically opposed. They both thought that they could bring each other back, and then they split. If they, in episode 8, like she still saw the good in him, he still thought he could bring her over. You could still get the dark ray visions that he's having. Maybe they could project visions at each other. So he's projecting like the dark ray visions, and she's projecting like the Ben Solo,
yeah,
like trying to bring.
So this is
Give me your.
this is the last paragraph. This is the last paragraph now. So this is all you get. And Rey's parents, still nobodies, i.e. Rey is not a Palpatine in this film, but Kylo Ren killed them at the behest of Snoke. So Kylo kills Rey's parents originally.
Did he drop her off on Jakku?
Doesn't mention. So the finale of this movie finds Rey. Hang on, 1 point. Right, your point now goes to Rey being nobody or Rey being a Palpatine. Which one did you prefer? Or which one would you prefer? I think when we did this, when we did our Rise of Skywalker episode, we were a bit on the fence about this because it was like, why does everybody have to be connected? And that's been a lot of people's frustrations.
Yeah.
I'm trying to fill the gap of silence while you think about which point you would give this fake film.
Okay, I didn't want Rey to be a no one as such, but I kind of didn't want her to be a Palpatine.
Kind of isn't good enough. I need a definitive answer for this scoreboard.
I think her being...
You can ask the audience if you want, or phone a friend.
Audience member, what do you think's better? We have an audience member. We have the designer here. Emily, what do you think?
You have to shout your answer.
I don't even know what the question is.
Is it better that Rey is nobody or that she is a Palpatine?
I'm going to go with nobody.
Okay, nobody it is, because that shows that you don't need to be bred into power to be good at what you do and all
Amen.
that.
Girl power.
Yeah, girl power.
Amen. She can be nobody.
She doesn't need the powers that some old crusty ass man gave her. She can be strong on her own.
Okay, so we got a couple more. So in the finale of this movie, finds Ren and Kylo.
Ren and Kylo.
Finds Rey and Kylo Ren duking it out on the mystical planet Mortis, with Rey getting an assist from the Force ghosts of Luke, Obi-Wan, and Yoda.
Which is kind of what happens.
Yeah, I reckon this means that we get them physically.
Yeah.
Like maybe physical. Well, it says Force ghosts, doesn't it?
I'm
So we
thinking like end of Goblet of Fire, Harry and Voldemort going at it and he's got his parents on each shoulder.
Yeah, a bit like that. Yeah.
Emily liked that reference. She got that one.
She's been here the whole time. She's not got a microphone though, so you might struggle a little.
Secret member, everybody.
She doesn't know. You don't know much about Star Wars, but it's okay. The opinion of a third party really matters
Yes.
at this point. It's definitive. But yeah, so basically, Mortis. Why does that ring a bell, Chris? Why does Mortis ring a bell?
I don't know, Sam.
Mortis,
Should it ring a bell?
Yes, I think the planet.
I'm thinking
Mortis,
rigor mortis, as in going stiff after you die.
Mortis in Star Wars. Oh, was an ethereal realm within the Force, which is whispered over. Oh, during the Clone Wars.
I was about to say, is it during the Clone Wars where Ahsoka Tano goes after she dies and she becomes one with the light side of the Force?
You know what? You know which one Mortis is? It's related to that family, those three.
Yeah, the father and the two children.
Yeah, the father and the two children.
Yeah, that's where she dies and becomes.
Yeah, the dagger of Mortis and stuff. That's where it all links. The altar of Mortis.
Yes.
It's where that Inquisitor in the Clone Wars goes. The father was Mortis.
Yes.
And that's that planet, which is probably why it was all set up in Rebels and Clone Wars and stuff, and you had all that, the world between worlds and stuff, which really sadly it wasn't linked in The Rise of Skywalker.
What we're saying is, Rise of Skywalker was fine and all that, but Duel of the Fates was a million times better.
And to round it up...
So do you want the point for that? That's another point.
And to round it up...
That's another point?
The Jedi, including Rey and Luke and Obi-Wan, try unsuccessfully to bring Kylo Ren back to the light, but he's too far gone, and in the end, he is quote-unquote extinguished.
Rey stabs him, does a big old stabby stab.
Gets a fire extinguisher, bashes him over the head, sprays him while he's down, and that's it, he's done.
I reckon if that was the version, we would have got red, creepy eye version, like Anakin at the end of
100%. And what did I...
Which is what we both wanted.
And that is what we had spoke about. It's what we wanted. We were happy with what we got given, but we weren't satisfied.
Yeah, we were happy with Rise of Skywalker, but Duel of the Fates is what we both actually wanted, and I realised I wasn't speaking into the microphone for a minute then. I was so disheartened. I was looking into the corner of the room. God.
What
So that was a whitewash. I wanted to give something to Rise of Skywalker.
It was 6-0 to the film that never happened. Wow.
I was going to try and go see Rise of Skywalker again in the next week or so, but I don't think I will now.
No. I think you should just try and do some lucid dreaming and try and dream the plot of this film.
I probably will tonight.
But that's it. Again, final credit goes to Collider and the YouTuber I mentioned earlier on, Robert Meyer Burnett.
Right, you haven't given your scores. Would it be 6-0 for you as well?
Oh, this film, definitely. Yeah. Obviously,
has it sullied your opinion on Rise of Skywalker? Because I feel like it has for me a bit now.
You know what? Rise of Skywalker, what it was. Both of these are two completely different takes on how that saga should have ended. I feel like it makes me realise how much a U-turn Rise of Skywalker was. And now that you get people talking about how, it felt like it was rushed and they had to do a lot of,
Fixing.
fixing. Yeah, like how the first 20 minutes was just like a total retcon of everything that happened in The Last Jedi, where this is supporting all the things that happened in The Last Jedi. It doesn't have to explain who Snoke is. We have to totally appreciate as well that what we have that we've read through isn't probably what the full script of the film would have been. It wouldn't have been the definitive film that we would have got because it was in 2016, and obviously, Lucasfilm and Trivago would have reacted very differently to fan feedback and trailers, and it's a tough one, isn't it? Because it's something that we're never going to get. It's done now. There's no backpedaling at this point.
I still feel like that script could have been used by J.J. Abrams. Like, I really like J.J. Abrams, but I feel like they got him back to do episode 9 and they were like, just go with your original plan for the trilogy.
Mm.
And he was just like, right, okay, then yeah, sound, I'll do that. Instead of thinking, what's Ryan Johnson just done? What was Colin Trevorrow's original plan? Sorry, Colin Trevorrow's original plan.
Do you reckon they got cold feet and didn't want to follow the risks that were taken?
I think it is? I think it was the vocal minority that hated The Last Jedi that made them flip. I really do. And I think that is a major problem that we got in the industry at the moment, especially with nerd culture and things like that. Because the way the internet is at the moment, it's an open forum to say whatever you want. And it's a lot easier to be negative about stuff because you don't need to justify it as much as you do for why you like stuff. And I feel like the amount of back pushing from episode 8, the first thing everybody points to at episode 8 is Canto Bight. Yeah, we can all admit that wasn't the best storyline, but what it did with the characters was still worth something. Like, episode 8 was a fantastic film. We both rated it quite highly in our top 9 out of the Star Wars films when we ranked them. It's a fantastic film. What they tried to do was ambitious and it worked. And then Rise of Skywalker has undermined it all. And I feel like that's because they saw the pushback, and then the writers' room and Kathleen Kennedy just said to JJ, do what you were going to do. Forget that episode 8 existed and do what you were going to do.
So as we mentioned that the internet is an open forum, we don't hate The Rise of Skywalker. We liked it, didn't we?
I really liked it.
We've seen it a few times. We like it, but
see, I feel like obviously it didn't touch on emotional beats in that short spec script that we got.
Yeah.
Whereas the emotion, it was the
We've
emotional
got lots
beats
of scenes that
made...
were missing as well.
Yeah.
We got lots of scenes missing from that synopsis.
Yeah, exactly. So we can't rate it fully. That's the grand strokes, and obviously we're filling bits in with our minds as well, how that would have played out. But I think it was the emotional beats in Rise of Skywalker that made it work for me.
Yeah.
The whole stuff with Leia and then bringing Ben back and people dying and stuff like that. Chewie getting the medal and everything like that. And Han Solo. All these emotional beats is what sold Rise of Skywalker for me. I understood that the plot was contrived, but the emotional beats worked for me.
Yeah. I think The Rise of Skywalker would have been fine if that was built across 2 films. If we had 4 films for the sequel saga instead of 3, potentially we could have had that build into Palpatine instead of being rushed. I think if we just wanted it to be capped off and we wanted to take the safe option in terms of what had been set up, we would have got this film. Does make you think, though. Does make you wonder what we could have, what could have been. But that is all we got time for covering that off today.
Do you reckon maybe...
Oh, no.
Sorry, just I know we said we're going to end it. Have you seen... It seems like the cast seem a little bit disappointed with Rise of Skywalker as well.
Mark Hamill, I think, is quite disappointed.
Yeah, Mark Hamill seems very disappointed. He only got one scene in it. I would be disappointed as well.
Yeah.
You help launch the franchise and then you get one scene in the end of it. Oscar Isaac seems a bit dismissive in interviews as well. I know...
He wouldn't come back and do another solo series.
No, he said he wouldn't have anything to do with it anymore, which he was a massive Star Wars fan. Whether he thinks, I've done my part, I don't want to overstay my welcome, maybe. But also, John Boyega, Noah's been getting flack lately for stuff that he's saying in interviews. I don't know what that's about. But I think that was where the whole thing about the director's cut came from, wasn't it? Was people speaking out about it. Do you reckon they've seen this version of the script and then they got the J.J. Abrams spec of the script and were like, We wanted to do that other film.
Well, we don't know, do we? We have to be
Possibly.
I've got to be open-minded. We can't fuel the hate fire. But maybe an extended version of Rise of Skywalker isn't what we need.
No. I kind of wish that I never found out about this script.
Sorry.
I think that's what I'm taking away from it, is it's made me think about a lot of things.
Yeah.
That I was happy to overlook to just keep enjoying Star Wars.
Yes. However, at least we know that this was in the pipeline, so you can't fault...
Maybe we get an animated version of it in a few years.
Yes.
Maybe somebody on YouTube, maybe the guy that makes all the Warhammer 40k videos can make a CGI version of this film.
That Kenobi fan film, if you've not seen that already.
Yeah, the Kenobi fan film.
That is very good.
Yeah, whoever made that, make Duel of the Fates.
So as much as we want to slam this film, or slam the film that came out for the film that never happened, we're going to finish it up there. You can get us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter at GetRealPod. That's REEL. And you can hit us up on email at getrealpoduk@gmail.com.
We are available on near enough every podcast provider. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. But all the major ones are there, so leave us a rate and review. Follow us on Spotify and everything like that.
And let us know which script you would have preferred, whether you would want this.
This is something that I want to hear from you guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure. Thank you very much for listening. Catch you next time.
Bye.